Welcome everyone to the Daily HiFi podcast. What is going on? My name is Chana. With me, as always, we have Mike, Joe, and Aaron. And today's special guest, we've got Tan. Did I say it right?
You got it, Chana.
Woo!
See you, man.
Took a risk. He took a risk.
You know, Chana wrote it out phonetically backstage, man. He was like,
I'm like,
right,
it's
we're
Tan.
get this
It's
right.
kind of like flan. I'm like, I don't know.
He's trying to rhyme flan.
I'm trying to rhyme it. That's how my brain works. Yeah.
Makes it happen.
There's my answer for once, Chana. Leap of faith worked.
Sweet. And welcome to our Monday Oro 3D party, as Fred likes to call it.
How come Tan is better? He's got a clearer video than I do.
Tom's got killer lighting. He's got the mic, everything, man.
Yep. I count
Wife
this
says
from
the
a
new
lot of
guy is
game
prepared.
streaming.
Yes. He's definitely prepared.
He's ready.
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
So you say you do live streaming?
Yeah, I did a bunch of like game live streams with like my friends over the course of the pandemic, and it's led to a bunch of interesting other like presentation broadcasts for like my work.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Open up some doors. It's funny how the pandemic has really just changed the way even people think about business and just allowed us to really explore maybe areas that we never would have done otherwise. So whether it's in business or personal, so that's pretty exciting, man.
Whether it's the HiFi Summit.
Yeah. I get onto some client calls with some, people want me to DJ their wedding, and they're like, "Man, your video looks great." It's all over Zoom.
Yeah, because they don't know you do this, right?
Yeah. Oh no, not at all. So it's kind of funny.
I had a meeting with the Sonic Presence guys, and it was just a normal Zoom meeting, but I had it all set up, and they're like, "How come your video looks all good?"
Yeah,
the owner was kind of looking at the other guys like, "What's up with our video? I need to get on this level."
It was have streaming video envy, right?
I think everybody needs to get their streaming game up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's been a year. If after a year they haven't picked up like some lights and a decent mic and all this,
at least just a light, so they can like be seen better. Like just that, like that is like got to be the bare minimum of entry now, right?
Lighting by far has like been one of the biggest upgrades that I focused on pretty early into like just doing online broadcasts. It used to be before I have like just my top down lights in my room here, and then one of the things I moved on to was RGB lighting, along with having I guess those like ring lights, but I don't really like ring lights or any real lights like right in front of me. So what I've done instead of I polarize them or polar opposite, set them up so that I get a nice contrast.
So you have 2 ring lights. Is that what you're using?
Yep. Also use it for model making.
There you go.
Yeah. A homeboy says, "I'm a high school teacher. I'm zoomed out." And so if you don't have a good mic though, because my daughter's doing like online school.
Yeah.
And I just told him like, "Man, get your mic game up because it's easier to understand." You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean for the teachers? The teachers need to have better mics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good options like nowadays, even in the budget range. That surprised me a lot.
Yeah. I think Shure came out with one recently. It was like a $50
MM7
USB mic or something like that.
The MM7 was like a USB and also standard XLR balance.
Is it MM7? MV7?
I don't know. Something with the same.
Anyway, it's a good deal. Get one.
You got a dope
hanging
setup.
out today,
That's
by
just
the
what
way.
we're saying, man.
Thank you.
I like it.
Our kid is that friend who streams. Yeah, I got Gracie all set up all crazy with a legit mic.
Yeah. And what did you say the hardest thing is? It's you got to remind her to like mute herself and then unmute herself. Like, while she's doing the class.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There we go. See, we got.
We got a few.
We got another pro. That's probably the mic right there. What mic is that, Don?
That's the Shure.
Which one?
MV7?
MV7?
Are you sure about that?
MV7.
Are you sure?
There it is.
Very sure.
There it is.
Don has the answer. It's the MV7.
What's going on, guys?
Good to see you, man.
We're just hanging out. And
we tried a little different flavor tonight. Try some new
Yeah,
stuff.
I like that. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I was thinking, because I was watching that Unbox Therapy that we were talking about earlier, and he was just saying how, sometimes it's nice to just not be a YouTube guy. So, I don't know. I know, Don, you're starting to do your YouTube stuff. But once you start getting into it, and all you're doing all day is either testing something or recording yourself testing something or making a video or editing, and it's like that's your whole life.
Yeah.
And so at times it can get not lonely. I wouldn't say lonely because I got my kids and my wife here, so I don't feel
you alone?
lonely.
Do you need a hug, Joe? Do you need a
He,
hug?
he wants
I
a
need a
snuggle.
hug.
You want
You
a
need some
snuggle,
love?
don't you?
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. It's not like certain jobs you go to work, you work with your team.
Right. You're around them.
So
in
this is the
person.
only kind of team thing that we do, and it's kind of sometimes it's nice to I don't know,
Connect.
unwind and connect. Connect is the way to put it.
Yeah.
Just hang out and talk about nothing if we want to talk about nothing or whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, YouTube's definitely not my job. I haven't put out a video in probably 2 or 3 months now, but I enjoy doing it when I do it.
Yeah.
So I'm working on the theater build videos now. So
Or you
It's
just
a
like buying
cool,
this stuff.
It's like a cool creative outlet, I think. Whether like what kind of games do you stream?
So a lot of shooters with my friends, along with survival games. We particularly like the survival ones because it gives a more organic and very emergent type of experience. A lot of times we can't even prep for it.
Right.
But even like on my own, I've streamed anything from like RPGs to also like strategy, just a mix of stuff.
Okay. So you go for a long time, like 2-3 hours kind of thing,
So
or half
that-
day,
or
you
like
do
6-8 hours.
short games.
That's the interesting thing. I definitely have friends who can do like those like what I would consider marathon. We're
Marathons,
talking about like 12 hours something.
Yeah.
I can't do it. The longest stream I think I've ever had was my friends and I recently finished Halo 3 ODST on Legendary, and we did that in one setting. But normally, at least for me, and that was like a 5-hour stream. Normally for me, I'm pretty burnt out by 2. Actually, even you could watch the 5-hour stream and
That's
I'm
still
like
a long
starting
time,
to-
man. Yeah, 2 hours on the mic. People don't realize that because like you're not only you're playing the game, but you're trying to kind of connect with your audience. You're checking out the
trying to
chat.
entertain. Yep.
Oh my gosh, man!
There's a lot of stuff going on when you're streaming.
Yeah,
A lot of
I
stuff.
don't think I could do that because that's a lot of multitasking.
It helps with the people, especially like friends or other like colleagues. By yourself,
Yeah,
especially someone like my personality, I don't find I can go that long. That's why usually 2 hours
okay.
I'm done.
Yeah.
But it's a certain type of experience that the more you do it, probably no different than YouTube, I imagine, because I don't actually do anything YouTube, at least at the moment.
Yeah,
I often find that when you first start, you're kind of nervous, you're not sure what to share, then you start to get a feel, and build your personality around there. And maybe it's not entirely like how you are in a day-to-day life, but it's still what I love about at least this type of activity and this type of hobby is it gets you out there, gets you more comfortable, and you forge relationships that I find aren't that much different in real life.
Yeah.
It's just you're all virtual.
yeah, exactly. Like I was about to say I never met Chana, but I did meet Chana, and I met Joe.
And Joe, we hung out.
hadn't
Somebody
met Aaron
actually,
yet.
somebody
I
on
whooped you guys in
Instagram-
arm wrestling.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
man, why do you got to
That's
keep
right.
bringing it
Joe
up, dude?
cheated, and he won this arm wrestling match.
I've
right?
been
in the
hitting
lobby
it
of this
in, man.
hotel. But somebody on Instagram, I forget who it is, DM me and was like, "Hey, I got an idea. You guys should like all go to each other's home theater and the other person describe what it's like and what it sounds like to see like the differences in like what a room makes." I'm like, "Yeah, that's easy. Me and Joe are in California.
All right.
Is that a good
Mike's
idea?
in Florida.
Is that a good idea?
Long
I
trip,
mean, I
man.
don't know. I don't know.
Would
Y'all are
who
welcome
would
to
be
come over,
honest?
man.
Who would be honest here?
I mean, I would.
Sounds like Michael, your stuff sucks.
Like, there's no bass in this room at all. Like, what
That's right.
happened?
Like I don't know, man. I
you
get
got 8 JTRs. Why don't you have bass?
yeah, exactly, man. What is going on here,
I
man?
will spit up that water. Wow.
I'd be honest.
Of course.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
I want to review Aaron's.
Yes, we should
Like,
all
man,
just go to Aaron's house.
I haven't reviewed a Pro Logic
on.
system in a long
I
time.
Come
know.
on.
Pro Logic 2.
Oh, I know it since like BC days.
Okay, so let's get the record straight. What are you actually running? Like, what
Yes.
formats does it support?
Uh-huh.
It does really. I mean, is it at least DTS or DTS Master?
Yeah, DTS Master HD.
Oh yeah.
I just don't have that
honestly,
next step of
That's
Atmos.
a great format. to be
So
honest
you
with
got Dolby True HD as well, right?
yeah. So, I mean, you're
Yeah.
still
Okay.
getting high res audio, so that's totally good. You just
Yeah,
don't
I
have
mean,
Atmos.
Well, the problem is that VHS players don't have that kind of features built into them. So,
True.
but I've got like all my home videos, from Christmas and stuff. It's pretty neat to watch.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Favorite
You know what? That
gun?
actually
Oh my, there's a fight. We'll see you later.
whose house was that at?
That wasn't
I
mine.
got my dogs
Oh.
going crazy. I just muted it.
That's funny.
That actually brings up a good topic that I was actually going to talk about. I'm trying to make a banner for it. Be careful of the misinformation in Facebook groups. Okay, did I totally misspell that? Here we go. Okay, so I was in a group, Facebook group. I don't know. I think it was the Dolby Vision, whatever.
Mhm.
Oh no, it was Emotiva.
EmoQ.
Somebody sent me this like, hey, check this out, and I looked, and it was about those new Revon players, right? Those 4K players that they sent over, and one guy was responding. He's like, "Oh, this is crap. No HDR10 plus and no HLG support." And that got me thinking. I'm like, why on earth are you asking him? Oh, and no HDMI 2.1. Okay, so let's all just clear the slate here. If it's a 4K Blu-ray player, it does not need HDMI 2.1 at all. So I don't know why people are even asking for that. Secondly, HDR10 plus, yes, it doesn't have that. So yeah, slight little ding. But do you guys know about HLG, hybrid log gamma, HDR?
Nah,
Yep.
that's more video side.
So none of these discs have HLG, right?
Oh.
What has HLG? HLG is for broadcast. So why on earth is this guy saying, "Oh, this 4K Blu-ray player doesn't support
Funny.
HLG HDR. Oh, it's crap."
So
No,
pretty
dude,
much
you
none
just
of them
don't
do,
know what
right?
the fuck you're talking about. And so I want to clear the air to let you guys know, let everybody know, HLG is for broadcast, and then sometimes, depending on how your YouTube app integrates with whatever platform it's on, whether it's the Apple TV 4K or Roku Ultra, or in some of these Blu-ray players, like the Sony and the LG, it'll play HLG HDR from that YouTube app. So maybe that's what he was thinking, but this is the 4K Blu-ray player that doesn't have any apps, so therein wouldn't need to support HLG. So just so everybody knows. I came across this and I was just like, oh my gosh, if one person's talking about this, there's got to be thousands of people that think this way.
Yeah.
And so we need to be here. It's up to us to be here to dispel those kinds of silly rumors. So that was my topic for today. That's just
HLG is just for the Villa man.
Yes, it is. he shoots in 4K HDR, and I think I used a clip. I asked him, I'm like, hey man, can I use a screenshot of your video? Because it says HLG HDR on the old OLED there.
Actually,
So,
this brings up an interesting point or an interesting topic that I'm kind of curious, Chana. So HLG is used for broadcast, but are there also different broadcasting standard for obviously what goes through your cable versus what goes through on streaming? Because that's actually one of the things that always bothers me about 4K Blu-ray discs versus 4K streaming is the bit rates are totally different. So
Right.
the quality that you get behind it also are different standards, and I often don't feel when it comes to the marketing of those services, even if you're in the pro range, it doesn't always seem to be as clear cut as it should be.
a lot of the HLG broadcasts I've seen are in 1080. They're 1080 HLG, 1080 HDR. Because especially for certain live events, the amount of cameras they have is nuts. And for all those to be 4K cameras, the sheer bandwidth.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, with just imagine one sporting event, how many cameras they use,
But let's
It
face it,
doesn't
they got
actually
the
say
money,
HLG though, does it? Does it say HLG or something else?
There's either VP9 or HLG is what the YouTube app comes in on my on the
That's what
OLED.
it says on it.
That's what it says. That's what it's seeing.
It's
So-
not like HDR10 or anything like that.
No.
That's something different.
That's different.
Ugh.
And it's specific. My OLED tells me every single one: HDR10, Dolby Vision, HLG, and then HLG VP9. And I've seen and what was the other one they were just talking about? I just forgot everything.
So let me ask you something, Chana. If you wanted
Yeah.
to do HDR10,
Uh-huh.
if you wanted to broadcast something,
Me?
how could you do that? Could you? Would you use HLG and then convert that somehow? How does that become HDR10.
Like to broadcast something live or broadcast something recorded?
well,
I think because I think
well,
that's
not,
I
not
think
forget
that's the issue.
broadcast. I think your camera is capable of HDR,
Yes,
right?
and it
So
would
how
be.
do you make yours HDR10? Let's say.
I don't know because there's two different things. It's in the in Final Cut Pro. I can set it as either HDR10 or HLG. So I guess it would. I guess the answer is it depends. I
Okay.
could probably do both, but I don't know. And then I wouldn't know really how to distribute that to where you could see it. I got to talk to Cleveland.
So, Chana, when
Um,
you record in 4K, is that in 4096 or the 3840?
Uh,
I think mine's
not the DCI. So the what Don's talking about is the resolution, pixel resolution, and there's actually two, right? The 4096 by was it 2160?
2160, yeah.
Yeah, that's DCI digital cinema 4K, and then there's 4K, which for the consumer market is 4K UHD.
Mhm.
Is the 3840 by 2160. So there's a little bit of a difference. Joe's camera shot at, I remember the one video you did in 40, what was it, 4086 or whatever in DCI.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that looks so cool. Because it was all like, like it was just like whoop. It was like here, and then you got a little extra on the side there. So it all depends. You can shoot in that. YouTube will, if you upload that to YouTube, it'll do the right dimensions. It'll have black bars, but if you're on your phone and you turn it sideways, there's like,
Perfect.
especially an
Tap or
iPhone,
whatever.
yeah, there's nothing. There's no black bars. So
Right.
that's, I mean, I shoot in the normal 4K UHD, right? 3840 by 2160, but my projects are a 2:1 aspect ratio. So it gets down to 3840 by 1920 is what all my videos are at.
And the
So,
reason I'm bringing this up kind of is because it's almost like the equipment that we use is getting so close to the equipment that, I don't know, professionals are using. It's almost like the same technology, right? So
To an
what
extent,
can
yeah.
our cameras not do? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like the same thing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting being on both sides where you're producing the content and we're also talking about reproduction, right? Because
Right.
HiFi, to me, HiFi refers to high fidelity reproduction,
Reproduction. Yeah.
like reproducing something in an accurate way, and that could be audio or video.
Yeah. 100%.
It's kind of like the prosumer, kind of like in between.
Yeah.
Where if you wanted to spend more because you wanted to get like a higher level production, you can go to pro. But at the same time, the consumer stuff, at least on the prosumer, has gotten so good and relatively affordable. Do you even bother to go up? I mean, for example, my camera right now is a A6600. It's not the A7, but it's the same lineage, and
Mhm.
I've got no complaints about it. In fact, I think just from evidence of hopping in here for today,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, is that
Looks
what you're
better
using
than mine.
too, Aaron?
Mine's a 6300, I think.
It's the same sensor. I believe that
Yeah.
they're all the same. In that
Yeah, I
regard.
mean, I think they basically scale up. So, and I'm
Yeah.
not paying an extra $1,000 to have the latest and greatest. I actually bought mine on eBay for $300. So
Dang,
And what camera is that?
that's a youth man deal.
mine's a A6300, but the lens is really the
Where
payoff
it's
for me.
at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. As long as you got a good, I mean, I'm not saying get a crappy camera, but as long as you
Decent
got a
body.
good camera,
Yep.
then a
Decent
lens
body,
will help too.
Great quality in lens. Yep.
Right.
I have to give a shout out to Optimus. Thank you for the super chat.
Yep.
I think he was asking, what is your favorite guns in your video games?
If you didn't
Optimus
know,
is
if you
very
don't follow Optimus on Instagram, you have no idea. This guy
has legit
loves his
guns.
guns. Like,
in every
real.
color
Good
too,
guns,
every
bro.
color way you could think of.
So Ton, you're kind of the veteran gamer. What's your favorite gun?
Favorite gun. Also, that also sounds like it's very dependent on what game world.
Yeah.
In many ways, like I've played stuff from Star Wars. I play Halo. Oh man, I'm not really much into COD because my COD years were literally when I was in high school, and I kind of dropped off the train there.
Mm.
Let's just go with like something like Counter Strike. Like I often prefer using like the sniper weapons or DMR type things. So I like things at a medium range, but I actually find myself as pretty good with pistols. And even in real life, one of my favorite pistols is still just the M1911. I just like the design of it.
Nice.
You opened up the whole new door for Optimus.
That's
Message
right,
him
dude.
directly.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So I'm kind of curious, keeping it on the audio stuff. What's your system like?
My system. So right now I use for my front LCR JBL Studio 5. So two 580s and the 520C. Honestly, I kind of wish like the center was bigger because it kind of feels like the miniature one of the bunch. Used to actually run 530s, but they went over to my wife's studio room and she used them as a near field setup.
Nice.
Full system is a 5.2.2 setup. So we've got two SB 3000s, and then we've got two elevation primes, though I'm hoping to get the last pair, hopefully with the Labor Day
Yeah.
weekend sale. And then for the surrounds, the ELAC debut B 6.2s when they came
Alright.
out.
And
But,
the AVR?
Yamaha RX A2080.
Oh,
But I'm running it through like the monolith 5. So
okay.
all my 5 mains are
I
amplified
think
in the
I think I reviewed that 8020.
I don't know anything about
Yes.
Yamaha, so when you just said
Yeah.
Yamaha, so I'm like, I don't know what that. I don't know.
I don't have much
You're like,
to
I
say about
don't know.
Wipeout.
A Yamaha.
All my corrections are done through REW and approximate as best as possible to Wipeout. Now, that being said, before I don't know how you all feel about Wipeout. I think I have a rough idea based off of previous videos,
It's all right.
but I don't find it terribly accurate.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit surprised when I did actually end up finishing out my manual calibration. While the frequency ranges were different, and obviously with Yamaha you can't be precise because they give you like presets. The curves surprisingly were actually pretty similar when I actually looked at the end of the day. So compared to like say run REW and try and manually do it yourself, you absolutely could. But I found that just going off of Wipeout and then adjusting it from there gave me
Right.
pretty much the same results. So it'll do its job, but
I
there's always
just
better.
I just got the new Yamaha RX 8A8A. Oh, God, when are they going to stop with this nonsense? First it was the Sony A8H. Now it's the Yamaha A8A. Like,
John is
hey,
not
hey,
much
hey,
better
hey.
on the PC hardware site either.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I
Just
bet.
everywhere.
I bet. And people were dissing on the Wipeout and all this stuff, and I admittedly I don't like it either. But a lot of people had messaged me and had commented that they run Wipeout, turn it off, and they mainly run it just to get the measurements, right? The distances, and then they'll go in and manually, level match it. So I guess that's probably a good way to go.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I
it's-
did as well. I kept it for the distances.
So it's PEQ for each channel, though, right? That's what
Yeah.
Yamaha gives you.
They give you 7 bands of PEQ.
All right. So on a Denon, is it even PEQ or just graphic?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I
I think
haven't
it's
had
just a graphic EQ.
I don't even go.
because
I don't even go in there.
You don't even know what I'm talking about right now.
No, I don't.
You showed
go
me a
into the-
picture of your
Yeah.
of the set, or in your video,
Right.
you show like the settings, and so you can do you're like, oh, look at that, you're like messing with the EQ,
Oh yeah.
but there's the gain, the Q, and the frequency.
And the frequency, yeah. And they have it like it's like a stepped frequency, so it's better than nothing.
Well,
Honestly.
actually, the good thing about that is you could take a measurement with REW and a UMic 1 and then figure out what corrections you need to make. This is probably way more than most people want to do. But if you wanted to get it pretty good, I don't see why that would be bad. That's kind of that's like an advanced option.
Oh, definitely. And if you know where like I jokingly was just like, oh, let me just boost it in between 2,000 and 6,000 hertz
Yeah.
because that's the part where everybody hates it.
Yeah.
So as
But
long
you can
as you
adjust
don't do that
the
nonsense.
width too, though.
The width
so
of the
you can make
cue,
it-
yeah, you can really I mean that's like that's one of the tricks in like mixing music is when you finding the center of the sound. I make the cue like really small and then I just sweep it across like wherever it was going and be like, oh, right here, this is the center of the sound, and I just kind of make sure that when that sound is playing, other stuff is notched out in that area, so everything kind of like puzzle pieces together. So, and that's how like modern music production is. So
I wonder if all the Yamahas are like that, because if if they all give you PEQ, then that's good from an advanced standpoint. You know, that kind of does what a mini DSP
Yeah.
would probably do, but bad if Wipeout doesn't do good auto calibration.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
thinking about it over the past couple of days and like reading the people's comments because I released my video this morning, and this one guy's like, "I can't believe you! I can't watch any more of your videos if you have a Yamaha receiver on your channel." I was like,
gosh,
"Whoa, dude, whoa, chill out," because there are a lot of Yamaha fans, and
Yeah.
I mean,
There's nothing wrong
reliability
with
was
that.
one of the
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. The reliability of a Yamaha is like second to none.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is heavy. It's heavy as shit. Which is good. But yeah, if I guess if you are the type of person that just wants to kind of Ron Popeil it, right? Like set it and forget it. And maybe you should go with Denon or Marantz, or but if you do want to tinker and you have like, knowledge on, frequencies and what sounds go where and this, that, and the other, and you want to tweak it with this PEQ in the Yamaha, yeah, I totally get that.
well, I think you can do that stuff with the Denon and Marantz with the app also. It makes it a little bit more controllable when you use the app, correct?
Yeah, you can.
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, it's
much-
kind of it's kind of weird. You can actually drag the curve kind of up and down, but to me, it's a little wonky.
Well, it's
trying
hard to
mess
get
with
it
that.
right on. You know what I mean? If you guys have ever tried to mess with the app and try to get it right on the frequency you want and right at the decibel you want, like you can't just type in, I want plus 3 decibels. You have to go and do this thing and like try to take
you
your
kind of
finger
drag
off
your
like
finger. Yeah,
at the right
it's
time.
a little weird.
Yeah, it's not very precise.
Yeah,
Mess with the curve.
they did add YPOW base management to this new lineup. I think it's on the A4A, the A6A, and the A8A. I don't know how to engage it, but that's
Say,
what
how
I
many
mean.
bands do they give you, Jana? That's what I'm kind of curious on. But granted, I'm not really looking that much for another Yamaha receiver. I'm looking to go into pre-pro, which is why my build's a little different now. But
What are you looking at?
to be honest, right now, I wouldn't say like anything strongly because I was kind of curious to see what was going to come out of like Cydia. But for the longest, well, when I say the longest time, probably like the past like 4 months, I was originally thinking about going with the AVM 70 from
Anthem.
yeah, from Anthem, but then you guys started me on the Oro train, and I'm like, crud. So I've been like flipping between that and the HTP one.
HTP1,
Yeah.
or the Oro tractor. Not the trade.
I want an
So-
altitude 32 so that I can set up both.
What does the base management do?
Yep.
Shauna?
I don't know, man. I haven't even. I've turned it on manually for the video. I haven't even like connected it up. I haven't done run YPOW. I haven't done shit. So
Okay.
it's just
I
an
think Don-
introductory video. But
Don's gonna switch out his Lingdorf for that.
Lingdorf
new
for the
Yamaha.
altitude. Oh, for the
No,
Yamaha.
for the Yamaha.
No, not for the Yamaha. For the
Look at
32 possibly.
So Don, is it difficult having equipment because you don't have it set up right?
Correct.
Yeah. And you
It's-
brought it over my home like
It's been a
8
year or so.
months
Yeah.
ago. I was about to say, holy cow, that's got to be hard, man.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing that I've been telling a lot of people now is that set your system up, use it, even if it's not perfect.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest thing, my biggest hang up. I want everything to be perfect. I'm just especially building. I'm doing the build myself.
Right.
The only thing I'm really contracting out would be drywall finisher, carpet, and electrical.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hang the drywall. I'm going to pull the wires. I'm going to do everything else myself. So, and I kind of have OCD when it comes to building stuff and
Got
doing
the
stuff like
lasers.
that. Yep, got the
Yeah.
you saw the laser. You saw the
Yeah.
laser. So
That's
yeah,
true.
so it is difficult, but the thing is that I had a living room set up that was a 7. I set up 3 subwoofers, so I had a 7, 3, 4. So I was using most of the equipment. The only thing that I did not use is the Lindorf. I have a Denon 6300.
Gotcha.
So I was still enjoying speakers and
So
everything.
you have
else.
another system to play around with.
yeah.
It's just not your
When you can
dedicated system.
afford a Lingdorf, you've got a second setup. Let's be real.
Correct.
It reminds-
Correct. Well, that,
As
and
you go big, you go bigger.
yeah, I had that 6300. That was the first like That was the newest piece of gear I got when I started my channel. Was the 6300. Before that, I had the 3808 Ci, which was like 15 years old.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I mean, it's nice. You know, I got it on a good deal from sorry, my kid was trying to come in the room. I got it on a good deal through Crutchfield. It was like a closeout sale. So it was like
Crutch who?
So, but I mean, I think I only paid $1,000 for it. So it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a good price.
It wasn't a bad price at all.
I thought he was talking about the Lingdorf. I'm like, wait, when did the Lingdorf start
No,
selling on
no,
Crutchfield? And when the heck did you get $1,000?
I wish I got that
man.
for $1,000.
That's funny.
But yeah,
I've only met one other guy that's like you, Don. My friend who had like this Prelude back in the day, like back in high school, and he got all this like imported like spoon whatever parts for his Prelude, like did all kinds of research, and in his room he just had all these parts.
They're stacked up.
You know, if it were me, I'd have been like, all right, I just got this part in, I'm installing it today.
Well, the only reason I didn't set up the Lindorf
all
is
at
because of my screaming kid in the background. I didn't want him to ruin it. So the Denon, I didn't care, you know.
You got patience, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I just can't do it. The moment I get something, I want to test it. I want to plug it in. I want to, you know, and that's good for you guys. Imagine if I made videos and I was just like, Don, like, hold on, I gotta wait till I get all the rest of the stuff, and then I'll review it.
No, I'm the same way. Whenever I get like any other type of electronic equipment or whatever, I gotta bust it open. As soon as I get my movies, you know, I gotta put it in to see what it looks like and everything else. But just with the theater, I kept telling myself I wanted to be perfect. I want to run wide speakers. So in order to run the wide speakers, my room was only 12 foot wide. So in order to do wide speakers, I would need to have a wider room, which included knocking down a wall for a garage, combining two rooms to be able to properly place the speakers in the so-called Dolby specs, you know. So that's why I'm
Dolby specs.
Yeah, like Dolby Atmos.
Didn't you watch our like past 900 videos?
I have watched the Euro, and that's why I said I want a Trent-off now, so that
Lingdorf doesn't do Oro. Yeah,
I'll sign off on that.
Does Oro.
Does it?
Yeah,
I would imagine. Gotcha. So why do you want the Trent-off then?
Because I can set up with the Trent-off. I should be able to set up one group of speakers just for Oro and one group of speakers so that way I'm not moving them back and forth.
Oh, gotcha.
So I mean, couldn't like you toggle preset option?
Yeah, couldn't you just do the same with? Yeah, this doesn't have presets on the Lingdorf.
I'm talking about running, you know, placing additional speakers on the wall. So I'll have my in-ceiling speakers, and then I'll have my height
and
speakers.
those other ones. Huh?
Correct.
That'd be cool.
But that'll be much further down the road.
Yeah.
I have bigger fish to fry right now.
Gives you some expansion opportunities.
Yes, it's always upgrade. Are you done with the upgrade? Nope. I'm always upgrading.
I want another projector, so you know I want the. I'm looking at the new lasers that are coming out. The JVC
this week,
lasers. Yeah.
Look at Chana. He's like, "Yeah, just hit me up."
Hit me up. Yo, he already knows. He already knows.
I've already gotten 6 speakers and a lens from Chana. So.
Oh man, that lens is something else. Dude. That was expensive, bro. Like what?
Yeah.
That's just for what? It's something like this big, right?
Yeah, it's a Panamorph lens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
It's gonna be sweet, man. I'll have to make a drive down there and we'll do a tour.
Definitely.
It'll be fun.
I'll get the professional to come down and do my tour for me.
Nah.
Yeah. There it is.
Who's that?
There it is.
It'll be fun.
Who's that?
Guy from Crutchfield?
Hey, Aaron, what you been up to, man? You've been kind of
emailing people at Crutchfield.
Quiet. You've been kind of cool. Well, good.
He's been battling Crutchfield for a return.
That shouldn't take you very long because they're not going to respond. It's all
I'm
good.
trolling Crutchfield hard. What have I been up to? Nothing, man. I've just been talking to people in the chat while you guys talk. Your Atmos and your Trinovs and.
Oh no, you've been testing all kinds of like, you know, Doing
Yeah,
some
but
tests,
theater
right?
stuff.
speakers.
Been playing with
busy?
speakers, staying busy, man. Trying to.
Yeah. So, what's your most recent video?
I dropped one of the Danley Sound Labs SH50 today, but that review's been done forever. I actually was doing pretty good. I got like 2 reviews done on the same day, so I had time. But now I dropped that second one today, so you guys know how it is. Now you're like, oh crap, I got to get back ahead of the game now.
I got to do another one.
Yeah, now
Maybe
I got to make like
space
another
out.
2 or 3.
Just
Yeah,
schedule 'em.
yeah. So, let's see here, Kef R5, and then I've got a Kef Wireless 2, which I told you guys. I love that little speaker. I mean, it's not the greatest thing ever, but I just love it because it's so simple. You know, just AirPlay straight onto it, 2 power plugs, and you're done. You don't have to run a whole bunch of XLR cables and a bunch of nonsense. You can just go.
Yeah. So I was kind of curious. I have this OSD 5-channel amp that I'm pretty impressed with. It runs cool, and I swapped out the
Is it Class
Parasound
AB or
850
Class D, Joe?
Class
H.
H, whatever the heck that is.
Yeah.
Class H. That's what
Oh.
Emotiva uses
Motiva
in their
uses
big ones.
those.
Yeah.
Some of them, yeah.
Probably made by the same company for all I know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But it's heavy, and I swapped out the Parasound A52 Plus, and that's a huge difference in price. It's like one's
It is.
3Gs, the other one's like 700 something bucks, right?
$800.
$800.
What's
Yeah,
the power?
my-
What are the power numbers on it?
So 180.
180 times 5 at 4
8 ohms?
ohms.
Oh,
Something
at
like
4
that.
ohms. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, a little bit less at 8 ohms. I mean, it's decent. But
It was what?
I guess my
120.
question was it 120?
Yeah, I think 120 and 8 ohms, and maybe 180 and 4 ohms.
Yeah. So, the other one is 255 at 4 ohms, the Parasound. But I'm thinking to myself, like, you guys, Michael and Aaron, you guys play with like those huge speakers, right? Like, at what point do I need more than whatever 180 watts?
I'll be honest,
the-
that's always a struggle with me because even when, like, typically all the speakers that I have owned were very sensitive, so they are easy to drive. You don't need thousands of watts to hit reference by any means.
Mhm.
So I'm still kind of learning that and like, okay, is there really any value in having, 400 watt per channel kind
So
of
your
amplifier?
JTRs, they're 102 dB sensitive, right?
Yeah, they're very sensitive, but they can also handle 1,000 watts each or something like that. It's crazy. So it's like, at what point? I mean, like, when would you need that much? Is it? Does it help with lower volume? So when you're just chilling, you're getting all that,
All
massive
those dynamics.
I think it's
You know.
more for the headroom, basically, on your amplifier.
Uh-oh.
How much
we
is
got,
that?
We
Also
got the pro in the
dependent
house.
on,
We got the pro.
Oh,
boom
what's
size.
up?
We got the professional
What's
in there.
happening, man?
Dude,
Uh,
2 more, and we're doing the Brady
See?
bunch.
Brady Bunch. Oh my God.
Hollywood Square.
Move me now. I'm not going to be Alice.
You're the center square.
I will leave and come back.
I was talking about the OSD amp, Ike, and he pops in.
Yeah, look at that.
He's like OSD amp. What?
Yeah, that's right.
I know
I've
about
seen
that.
one.
I did a video unboxing
Dude,
of that.
that was like the
There's
bat
Ike.
signal. All of a sudden, Ike just flies in.
Like, get it?
I feel like I just walked into the wrong place.
Front and center. Front and
You know you like it.
So Ike,
No
what did I
comment.
tell you? I messaged you the other day. I'm like, hey man, I'm impressed with this
Yeah.
thing. What the heck?
Yesterday, right? Yeah. That's
Was it
last
yesterday?
night. We were talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm impressed. So
It's-
I was asking, I asked you, like, when do I need more power than this? Like, does Aaron, like, honestly, is
Yeah.
there a point that you would say is like, all right, because you know,
Too much?
our audio is a little different, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, no. I mean, honestly, I'd say get whatever you can afford. But at some point, you start to run out of the purpose of it. Like one thing is, how much can the speaker realistically take?
Right.
Right. Before you start running a compression, you thermally compress the speaker, and then it just starts giving up, and it don't have any more
Realistically.
output anymore. Yeah, it's just going to depend on the speaker. You know.
and the funny
Like, how
thing is,
sensitive
actually,
the
it's
speaker?
the
And the
it's the
crossover.
smaller speakers, right? Usually, the smaller speakers are the ones that are 4 ohms and that need to get more power in
Yeah.
order to play at a certain volume. The bigger
But they
speakers,
can't.
but they can't. But the bigger speakers are the ones that don't really need that much help. At which point you're like, all right, I'm at reference volume. Most people don't want to hear this stuff at reference.
I don't
It's
listen
freaking
to
loud.
reference. No, it's way too loud for me.
It's fun for demos, but for
Yeah.
like long-term listening,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, you did a
One
poll on your Youthman crew, right? On Facebook, on the Youthman
Yeah.
crew Facebook group. And I think the poll was like, what volume do you listen? And what was the winner? I think like between like minus 15 and minus 11 dB, something like that.
I don't even know.
I'll tell you, when I
he's
was
not
at
even paying
Michael's
attention.
house,
That's your group, man.
Would you be surprised if I told you that I don't even remember posting that?
No, it
No,
might not be
I'm
you. It's
not
probably one of the
surprised.
moderators. He's just chilling. Like, yeah, what are our numbers today?
He's like,
What's our growth like?
yeah, exactly. You pay some like little teenager $5 a week
Oh,
to manage it.
No, literally, the main reason why I created the group is because we get all these questions saying, hey, how do you do this? What do I do about this? What do I do about this? And I'm going, I physically can't answer everybody. And so I literally created the group so that I could point people to and say, hey, here's a group of people. Here's 2,000 people that could answer your question versus you waiting on me to answer your question, which isn't always going to happen. And so that's really the foundation of why I created the Youthman crew, simply just because of that. And so there's a lot of times I don't even have the time to be super, super active in it myself. It's just there as a resource for people, so they could have a community of like-mindedness. And we try to operate a lot different than some of the other groups. And the biggest thing is I just want to be positive. I want it to be a reflection of kind of who I am and what I'm about. And so if you want to come in there and you just want to be nasty and mean and criticize everybody else, man, you can find another place.
They're gonna be like, "You're welcome. Come on in."
Yeah, literally. We just booted not our first person, but sadly we had to kind of move somebody on.
Was that Hater Joe?
No,
Uh,
no, we were just. I mean, we were super nice. We just kind of were like, but after a while, it's like, okay, enough's enough, man. We've been dealing with this for like a year, 2 years, and it's like,
this
no,
guy just keeps
it's-
promoting the HiFi
Yeah.
Summit. This guy,
nah,
get him out of here.
nah. As long as it's
Promoting his
positivity,
channel.
man. If you wanna, you can praise anything, but man, just keep it positive, man. I ain't got time
so
for
when
drama.
I was at Michael Youthman's house, I know we cranked it up pretty loud during the demo. I think we were at -5, something like that, and it was pretty loud. That Monolith 11 channel amp that you have is 200 watts per channel.
It does 200 by 3 and then 100 by 8.
Right.
Mhm.
So I mean, it was loud. It was,
Yeah.
but then again, some people can confuse loud with distortion too. So you got to make sure that it's not your speakers distorting versus just the amp giving out or the speakers giving out.
So when we say reference in like -11
Yeah.
or -10 dB,
What,
is this the
what
same?
SPL is that?
I
You
think
guys are
it's-
talking like -15 and stuff. So reference is supposed to be what? 85 with 20 dB peaks for mains and then up to 115 for sub, right?
Whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
You,
What is
you
this
asked
guy?
like as if you just said the answer right there. He's like,
Yeah.
"Is it this?"
Well, I think that's
Or-
what it is, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
It's
so looking for
between like
clarification.
85 to like 92.
So is that at 0 dB? When you guys talk about like
See you,
reference to,
Yeah.
is that 0 dB?
Well, I guess on the on our AVR it says like
On the AVR it's like
oh my
15,
God.
right?
Look at this guy.
Yeah, we're getting some crazy spammers.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
trying to
A
get a
couple weeks ago too.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's all good.
That's kind of funny. This is stupid.
Kind of funny.
Why would you do that? Like, what's the point of
Yeah.
this?
Well, it's
Who
probably
takes the time? Who takes the time to like make a bot? Like, let's write this.
yeah.
It's probably Aaron's Bonner bot something.
There's
Hey,
another
man.
one.
Okay.
It's Crutchfield coming back at you, Aaron.
It is Crutchfield.
Wow.
I'm just kidding, Crutchfield.
I'll take the reins here for a second. So
Good.
while you guys take care of that, Crutchfield, where was I at? Let me think about this for a second. Yeah, so I asked Crutchfield if they would want to like work with me and kind of partner with me. They don't have to pay me anything, but maybe just
Whoa.
offer me some loaners and stuff. And they shot that down. So if anybody out there happens to work for Audio Advice, I'm looking to maybe talk with them. Anybody, any companies like that would be willing to work with me, just provide me loaners. And I'll do like, hey, this company is awesome and all that stuff. You don't have to pay me. I don't want affiliate links. I just want stuff I can play with.
You get all kinds of crap.
You know,
Yeah,
we need
no.
to
Yeah.
we need to
I think Kango's right.
It's Dolby Labs venting their stress.
Turn off all comments.
It probably is.
Well, we don't want to turn off all comments. I know what we need to do. I'll do it after the show. We just need to
I'll put filters on.
yeah. Put filters on for certain words, like what's happening here. Hide this user. Hey, I already hit that person. Why does it keep coming up?
I don't know.
I think we'd have to refresh to like show it gone or whatever. But yeah.
No, I don't know.
So, but yeah, back to your thought there, Aaron. Yeah, my understanding is 85. So basically, when you run your calibration and your AVR, you've got negative, and it depends on how you have it set up. By default, sometimes your AVR may say like, I guess 0 to 99. So it's on like a numerical scale. Well, I prefer to use kind of a relative scale, and that relativity is based off of reference. So 0 dB would be reference, and that would be like 85 up to peaks of 105, I think.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Now
I think it's supposed to be like 20 dB swing.
Your sub is different. The sub is actually a lot higher. I was talking to a friend of mine actually just probably last week, and he was saying the sub is like 110 or 115. So it's actually higher than that. But yeah, so that's really what you're talking about. So when you think about that, if you've got it at 0 dB and your system's calibrated to reference, that means that, you're hitting some pretty loud volume sustained throughout the thing. So I don't know. To me, that's pretty stinking loud.
Yeah.
I'm typically around like -10 when I watch a movie.
So I just think in terms of SPL, because that's what I'm used to, so I'm thinking like most people, when I polled last year or a little over a year ago, I asked about how far away do you typically listen and about what volume. And the majority of people was like between 9 and 12 feet, and about 85 dB was their average listening volume, not peak, but just average RMS, right? Yeah. So, and that kind of seems to fall in line, I think, with what that THX, or is it THX? Somebody's spec. I guess maybe it's the THX.
Yeah, THX.
It's probably THX.
Hey, Joe, I think it was Aaron, not me, that did that poll. Because I don't do a whole lot of polls.
I did one on ABS for him. and that was way before I think I even knew who you guys were. Yeah, you probably did. Let's go look at it. Let's go pull up your group. Oh, I can't even get into your group because you never accepted my request, man.
Because you were the dude that we just recently banned, and I don't want to.
You know what?
Public.
Well,
So
there's nothing
there
wrong
you
with
go,
that.
Aaron.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm just messing.
Let's see. How loud
Hey,
listen? Will that get me there?
Did you answer all the questions? If you didn't, you're not getting in. That's bottom line.
I can provide some like anecdotal. So I've never actually measured the SPL. I think on reference. So on the Yamaha, if I run WiPow, it will calibrate it at 0 on its volume. I've never actually measured it. Granted, when I've measured it, like for like my own manual calibration, I'm usually like -20. And that puts me at about like 85 to 88 dB. So if I had to guess, it is probably around like that, 102, 105 mark.
Yeah. And I find most people don't listen as loud as they think they do. Like it turns out that a lot of people, when you give them an SPL meter or you say, just use your phone and just check it, they're like, I thought I was listening at 100.
It's so funny that you say that. It's the same thing with videos. People are like, you're like, oh, this TV doesn't have 1,000 nits. Yeah. Do you know what that looks like? Dude, it's blinding.
Blind dry.
It's blinding. Like, oh, these OLEDs only get up to 800. Yeah, that's fine.
That's
In
why
the
it's
dark
crazy.
room, you're not going to notice. And
It's crazy.
yeah.
You see like some gaming monitors and TVs, they're like advertising like we can hit that 1,000. It's like if you sat in front of that thing, you'll be seeing sunspots in your eyes after playing a minute.
Oh yeah, I got that new gaming monitor, that 43-inch Aorus that has HDR 1000 or whatever.
Is it an OLED?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
But it's I'm sitting 4 feet from it. I don't want 1,000 nits blasting me, 4 feet away. That's just gonna suck.
Didn't you have a monitor? Remember that BM monitor that was 2,000 nits?
Bowel movement monitor?
Yeah, your bowel movement.
The BVM. The BVM.
No. I'm talking about that monitor that you had that was like, it used to get super hot. You don't remember?
I don't know which one you're talking about, man.
Oh my goodness.
What brand was it? There's so many TVs and monitors coming in through here. I don't know.
Look.
I don't know what's happening.
Hold on, I gotta.
Hey,
find
Michael Wyckoff, what's going on?
It's not a Vizio monitor, right?
Where is it? There it is.
It was a Portkeys BM5. You never got that, or you did?
I did have that monitor, the little 5-inch monitor. For the
2000 nits.
cameras.
No,
Yeah,
isn't it like
2000
super
nits.
bright? Because it's
I didn't take
outdoors.
it outside. Yeah, so
Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
How hot did that thing get?
It was pretty hot
Like
Pretty
scary hot.
for a little while, but
Like,
I was just like, this shit is too small. I need like a 7-inch monitor, so I returned it and got a 7-inch monitor. But
Brightness, blah.
yeah,
Too
but so
small.
same thing. So same thing with that. Like this 1,000 nits is this thing that people need their TV to have, and it's just like reference level audio is just like 105 dB. Like,
I
get
guess
out of here. Even at 85-90, it's just like whoa. If you're
be loud, sustained,
if- yeah, if you're what do you call it? If you're sitting 5 feet away, like dude, get out of here. Get out of here. You are going to do some major damage. I'm sitting 14 feet away, and I'll peak around 90, 92 if I'm like reviewing some speakers or whatever. But it's not for hours at a time. Sometimes.
yeah.
I think
Oh, yeah.
people just like the idea of owning 1,000 nit TV. Not necessarily that they want to enjoy everything that comes with it. Just feels good to say, hey, just like you brag about your own OLED channel, the one that hits 600-700 nits,
840.
or 840 nits. Exactly. See,
and he's watching like 200 of it.
Well,
exactly.
you know what's funny? So with the new Revon players, they actually have an HDR info screen. And so a couple of movies were mastered in 4,000 nits, but the peak average is like 800 or 900 in the entire movie.
Right.
So it's just like, well, why was it mastered in 4,000 nits? Maybe they wanted like all that versatility for like, certain highlights in certain areas, but it didn't even break 1,000 nits in the actual content. So I don't know.
Hey, real quick, sorry, I know that you guys were talking about like the reference. I was busy trying to deal with this racist, sexist bot
Yes.
saying all kinds of crazy stuff. It was like saying like Bose is the best. It was saying like measurements don't matter, all kinds
Oh
of
my
crazy
God.
stuff. It was,
Yeah,
like,
we
it was
had to
just coming
delete
up. I was
all
like,
that,
had to edit that out.
Crutchfield's the
So,
best.
Crutchfield.
I'm so petty. I'm sorry. I actually do like
I know, we
Crutchfield.
should change your name to Betty.
I'm just super petty. Well, let me go ahead and Focal never freaking call me back, even though I talked to the dude on the phone. And
I told you.
Paradox-
I was saying,
No, he said, well, send me an email and I'll get to somebody about to have a meeting with this lady. I can't remember her name now. And she's our head of whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, cool. They don't even reply. I've sent them 2 and they didn't even bother to say, sorry, we're not interested. All you got to do, manufacturers, when you've got a marketing team and it is your job to say yes or no to people, just reply and say no. That's all you got to do. Just all you
say
got to
no.
do. Say no. Because otherwise I'm going to hound you, or I will find your speaker by some other means. And
Or
then
I
I
will
will
blast
test it.
you.
And you're going to
Write out
see it
what's
regardless.
Screen.
It's going to get out there. Whether you want to help it out or not, it's going to get out there. I want people to know that. And it
Yeah.
infuriates me
I
when people
told
don't even
you,
reply
like-
and say no.
So Aaron hit me up and he's
Oh.
like, "You have a connection at Focal." I'm like, "Yeah, but I mean, they don't ever answer." So
they don't answer me either. So
here's the guy's phone number, the marketing manager's phone number. At least you got him on the phone. That's
I called him and he
further
answered
than I got.
probably because he didn't recognize the number. And he was like, yeah, well, let me give you, I'm about to have a meeting with, again, this lady, and send me an email and then I'll have her contact you. I sent an email immediately.
He's probably like
Nothing.
doing whatever. He's like, gotta go
was
to meeting.
eating.
Let me
He was
email
eating.
you, blah blah.
Yep.
did he
Now
sound
he's,
French?
gonna watch the podcast and go, yeah, I ain't sending that middle square dude any
Nope.
speaking anytime
Yeah.
soon.
That's fine. That's fine because I
you know
will
what?
get it.
I try
Rest-
to say
rest
like
assured.
the craziest thing at the beginning. Like I'll call these companies, like let's say for the HiFi Summit, it'd be like, your company's gonna fail if you don't do this. And be like, what? Oh, hello? Just say something wild. Like, oh, I got your attention, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get their
Yeah, that's
speaker
right. Damn right.
somehow. I got a JBL M2 somebody brought me, so if I can get that, I can probably get just about anything at this point.
Too funny.
Mark Wilson, the answer is yes. I did notice that.
Petty.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so was the conclusion that like reference is the same? Like if we say minus 10 dB, if I go to Michael's and I play minus 10 dB on your system, it should be about the same volume as mine, or is that
It's the
not
same.
the case?
That's the idea. Is
Well,
See,
how
that-
do
that's
you
the thing that I
calibrate
don't
your
get.
speakers
Just
correctly?
off of-
Yeah. Okay. So there's got to be a calibration part, right? Because otherwise, we can all say we got two different AVRs, and you got your own amps, and you've got your own amps over here.
Right.
All the difference is I'm gonna turn my gain up a little bit more. Now I've changed the volume, right?
Yeah.
So the calibration part would be key.
Well,
Yeah.
you know,
Otherwise,
what's
otherwise those
interesting-
numbers are
That's what I'm
meaningless.
saying. If it's calibrated to reference, and you're
Right.
and auto calibration should do that. That's the goal of it.
Right.
Now,
Here's-
how
here's
accurate
what's
that is, I
interesting.
don't know, but-
So, Michael, what volume is the max on yours? Like, what's the max that you can turn it up to?
I've never gone above 0 dB. I think
You've
it's
never
plus,
gone-
I think it's plus 10 dB.
Yeah, I think.
Okay,
you
so
can
here's
that ramp
here's
will
something
allow
interesting
you
that you
to-
guys might find interesting is like, if I have some very low sensitivity speakers and I run Odyssey, it won't let me get to 0.
Yeah.
Have you seen that too, Shauna?
Yeah. Mhm.
Like if I do all kinds of like
Oh,
sometimes.
Well, think
I
about
actually don't use that scale. I just do the 0 to 99.
that. Oh,
Yeah, I do too.
You got on
I do
Wi-Fi
too.
mode.
wow.
But here's the thing.
Wi-Fi mode.
Yeah, no, totally. Because I'm like, yeah, keep it at 72. Right?
Oh
Don't go
my
past 75.
No,
That's
that's
like why when I'm
use
turning
that,
it up, it's saying it's going. The numbers are going the opposite direction.
So I remember doing this thing where I was going back and forth with DTSX and just some regular stereo stuff. And the DTSX movie was capped at like 89. So I couldn't even get to 99. Right. And I was just like, what is going on? Why can't I get louder? And so the AVR's got some, nannies on there, some babysitters.
I think it
depending
depends
what
on
you got.
Why would you
on.
want
Is it like a
to go to
signal
99
limiter?
on your AVR though?
Because it's in my living room. So when my kid or my wife is watching, I'm like, keep it between 65 and 72.
No,
if
I'm
you need to
saying-
go
I
loud,
thought
don't-
you were saying you tried to go up to 99.
yeah, I did. Yeah, no, that's where it goes. It goes, the top is 99.
I know.
I
where
tried to
it
go to
goes.
99. I
I
was
know
just-
how
well,
bad that would sound.
No,
I
no.
think the problem is that would
trying to
doesn't
figure
that
out.
change depending on the
Well,
sensitivity
so-
of your speakers?
I was going up and I wanted to go louder and I had hit the cap.
Mhm.
And I was just like, why is this not going any louder? Because I wanted to hear more explosions. It was like, what was it? It was Lone Survivor, the first 4K disc with DTSX. So I was just like, why can't it get louder? I'm like, this is messed up. And
So
so
think about this: when I calibrate, when I had the Clips La Scalas and when I've got the JTRs now, the Odyssey sets the trim levels to like -12
Mhm.
every single time, because it has to back it down because they're so sensitive that if it ran it at even near 0 trim level, it'd be just way above. Well, you'd be 12 dB plus, above reference. So
So here's I put a video out
Me
of
something, I don't know.
I put a video out of me testing the SVS, what was that, PB 1000 Pro, and I was running some 16 hertz like sine waves through it, right? And it's just something I do. Like I'm here to test out the entire subwoofer, including the driver, the amplifier, the DSP. I want to see where it limits. Is it going to
You wanna
allow
see
me to blow
smoke.
it up? Like most of the
You
time,
wanna see
they'll back it off, right? And somebody commented like, "Oh, you're not supposed to be running test tones, like sine waves. Like sine waves are going to destroy the thing." I'm like, if it can't, it's rated to 17 hertz. If it can't play 16,
Oh,
I
right.
think the thing
right. I
is
saw what you're
that's a
talking about.
continuous wave though, and I don't know. I've heard the same thing. Like if you
So?
run, well, I guess what
Well,
I've
what
heard,
do you think
run
these
a square
companies are doing when they're testing this thing? They're not playing music. They're running.
Well, but if they run like a square wave, that's what I heard. Like if
well,
you
what
run
what
that,
happens
you'll
at the
blow it up. I don't
beginning of
know.
that one movie with the earthquake at the
Oh,
beginning?
It's
That's a
terrible.
straight up.
Edge of tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
a terrible. It's
That's
a terrible
exactly what
demo.
that is. But I'm
terrible.
saying
I mean-
it's not like it's not going to happen in the movie.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because, like, I know from creating bass sounds on a synthesizer, you use a square wave. So,
Really?
yeah, that's
Like I
that.
said, that's
Like
just-
you go
well,
to the
alright,
square wave.
Going
that's
back
just-
to what you said earlier, let's set it straight. But that's literally what is around out there on the internet.
on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that, if you run a sine wave or a square wave through a speaker long enough, you'll fry it. because the voice
All right.
goal maybe gets too
so
high.
weird.
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna ask. I gotta ask Aaron. What's your take? Sine
what?
waves are
I'm
sine
like,
waves
he's like, there's a lot of
continuous?
shit happening.
Yeah, you guys are throwing a lot out there.
Man, you need
Yeah.
to be on the side corner, man. That being
Are-
in the middle, you're like, who do I look at?
Yeah.
That's
Are continuous sine waves okay to run through a subwoofer? Because here's my
or
reasoning,
anything.
right? It's
Yeah,
it's
damn
not
it.
like I have a sub, like a car audio sub, where you don't know what amplifier I'm running. I could be pumping out way too much power for this sub and fry it. Right? But I'm talking about like a home theater subwoofer. They know what the driver is. They know what the power of the amp is.
Yeah,
They have
right.
DSP. He tried to make it sound like I'm not allowed to run test tones like that. Ooh, you're gonna fry it like Villaman did.
I mean,
can't-
you could, but they should have like DSP limiting software built into it. Not software, but like firmware built into it to where it would keep the speaker from being blown, I mean, but it just depends on the speaker. So for example, if they do have a limiter, well, first of all, if they don't have a limiter, then eventually you're going to fry the speaker if you just start drilling it, right? But if they do have a limiter and the limiter is like, I don't know, very optimistic or something like that, it's just over limiting, then you're probably never going to blow the speaker. If it does have a limiter and it's not quite optimistic for the abuse that it might take, then you could fry the speaker. So there's a lot of, I don't know, but you should be fine. I mean, most of
Whose
these
fault
companies.
would that be then? Whose fault would it be?
Well, I don't know. I think it depends on, like, if you're purposely trying to see how far it can go before you blow it up, and then you blow it up, and it's beyond the capabilities that like most people would push. And by most people, I mean like at average use.
Somebody
You know what I'm
watch the
saying?
movies, Joe.
Like if you're
What's
purposely
that?
abusing it, that's different.
All right, so what if they're playing the bass "I Love You"? Is that abusing? It's a song.
I don't think so. I think it's just
That's a test. That's a track.
there's a lot of
I've seen
depends.
tracks.
bass mechanic. If I'm running bass mechanic, is that okay?
It's like 20 cycles.
look,
18
what does the
cycles.
manufacturer, what does
You
the
know, like-
manufacturer say it can do? And if you're trying to like beat the snot out of it past that, then and you find out it doesn't go past that, then hey, they told you.
I'm running the IMAX test where the rocket ship goes up and it's like, it's doing that for like 30 seconds. I mean,
That shouldn't blow it.
that's what I'm saying though. My whole point
shouldn't.
is like, they need to know that people they're gonna try to push their sub, right? They want to
Yeah,
know what
no,
it can do.
All right, so
I
here's-
think there's
here's my
reasonable
question.
expectation from a manufacturer.
Okay.
So what is the purpose of running 16 hertz for a minute?
Well,
Like, what do you want to accomplish out of that?
He
What am
wants
I
to do
trying
for
to-
the play?
I mean,
A
just,
YouTube
are you
video?
just are you just trying to?
clearly for a YouTube video.
I'm waiting for the
He's
whole
not
entire
worried about
question.
this otherwise.
I'm waiting for the whole question. All right.
All right.
Let's hear
Well,
it.
my question is like, what's your purpose behind just playing a 16 hertz sine wave? Are you
Well,
wanting to see if you can feel it, if you can hear it, if
Yeah.
the sub smokes? What are you hoping, or what
Well,
are you wanting to
Here's
see?
what I'm definitely not trying to do, right? I'm definitely not trying to blow up the sub because I need to review the thing, right? What kind of review? I did an unboxing, took it in, I moved it, and then I blow it up. Okay, what do I get out of that?
Views. You get a bunch of views.
I guess you would.
It's on
that's-
fire. The fire department's coming out. You're getting some
like
B-roll.
one of the-
But I don't think SVS is gonna want to send out more subs. Like, dude, this guy just keeps blowing up our subs, making us look bad. That's not a great thing. All he does is like he plays
Here's
test
my,
tones to try to blow them up.
You got
Here's
the
my
magic smoke right
SBS subwoofer review and what not to do when you
That's
buy
right.
one. There you go.
I
Don't
found
get it past
in the-
here, otherwise you'll blow it up. Just look at Joe.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look,
Are they
there's enough
concerned that-
information. My
Are
point is,
they
there's enough
concerned that people are going to
information.
see that? Let me start. Are they concerned that people are going to see that and try to emulate what you did and blow up speakers, and then their SBS is going to be culpable
so
for
maybe
that?
it's a liability thing,
I don't know.
or maybe you
I
need to have a disclaimer, Joe. Do not try this at home, kids.
do
professionals.
not try.
Yeah,
I mean,
guess
yeah,
professional.
professional.
Morning McFly,
That's right.
I guess.
Controlled
I guess in-
environment.
There you go.
In my mind, they have enough information to make sure that their subwoofer will not blow up.
Well, I'll
There's
put it
enough
this way.
information there.
When I do a lot of my like CEA 2010 testing, what I'll find is that the lower frequencies, you'll start seeing. So the clip of what it does is spits out a voltage, and it does it in steps. It's from as low as I want it to as high as I want it to. So let's say it'll start off at like 0.1 volt, and I want it to go up to 1 volt output RCA. Okay, so it'll go 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. It'll keep working up, and I'm watching the table of results. So here's my 0.1 down here, and it builds up to 1 up here. Well, on the low end, when you have limiting built in, you'll see that same like 110 dB at 0.1 volt, and it'll be 110 dB, 110 dB, 110 dB, because they've got a limiter built in to where it's not going to go past a certain output no matter what you feed it.
Yeah.
And most of them should have that. SVS has that. Monolith has that. Yeah. So they should have, even the cheap like $150 ones that I tested last year, they all had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The calf that I reviewed, actually, one thing I look for is how quickly can it do it, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, a lot of times you'll hear audible distortion that goes along with it. So you know to back it off too. And some of these are so fast that you never hear that. That's what's interesting too, is like it never even allows you to hear the audible distortion. It's already like lowering
it's
it.
immediate. Yeah, before it even gets to so it's got to go run through the electronics. And electronics says, well, I know what I can do, and it can calculate the output. So it's like, nope, cut this off, drop it.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was interesting, just from the standpoint of like, I think a good manufacturer would take all these things into account, because you don't know what somebody's gonna do. I don't think what I'm doing is ridiculous. I'm playing a 16 hertz test tone. I want to see if it can play 16 hertz.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's not unfeasible at all.
Like
Chana's playing instruments. What did you have? The Moog.
Dude, I had my Moog.
I remember that
Model D plugged right into the. Some of, I tell you guys, I did that for about 45 minutes, and I was just nauseous afterward, because like I'm standing right next to it, right, and I'm just like completely making the woofer do all kinds of crazy stuff, and it was all cool, but I was just like, oh man, I just need to.
You got nauseous, really?
Yeah. Well, dude, it was just high output, and it was shaking the house for like a good, like 45 minutes straight, because I was just playing all kinds of different notes, right? And then I got to the point where it was just clicking, right? You go low enough, it gets to the clicks, right? So it's too low, and man, like those clicks would shake the crap out of the house. Like, and it's just this, like it was real quick, but it was just, it was jarring. But it was a lot of fun. Joe is always saying like, why are these rels only go to 24? So I went and played 20, 18, 15, 14 the same way. Tone generator. I was like, oh, it plays, and different parts of the house shook at different frequencies, and that's pretty much what it was. I didn't think it was gonna break it. I didn't feel like that was ever gonna happen.
When I do the frequency sweeps now, so used to I would do like 15 to whatever, 200 or 150. So I do 5 to there. So at 5, the entrance door to my room, just completely goes when it goes from probably 5 to 15, and then you start hearing it after that. It's pretty crazy. So talking about like, what I'm saying, like you were talking about stuff starts moving in your room. That's like real. So,
How many of the rails do you have, Chana?
What do you mean?
You have the 1508s, right?
Yeah, I have those. I have the 9Xs.
He has
in
two
here,
of those.
and I got the 1003s in storage.
Yeah, because I was just curious, because I have 4 of those, so I haven't played any tones through them.
I only run one of those things on. It's too much. Like my wife is always like, "Can you turn that down?" So I just turn off the subwoofer, and then she's like, "That's still too much bass." So then I got to actually turn it down. So it's very annoying. So you have 4 of them? Damn.
Yeah, the room is 16 by 22.
Okay.
17 by 22. So
yeah, that's like my room. My living room and dining area is 17 by 23. With that weird shaped ceiling. So one side the roof is at 8 feet. The other side the roof is at 15 feet. So it's a big old slant.
Yeah, because like you said, the specs say they roll off at 21 hertz. So I was just curious. I haven't really put them to the test.
It'll play it. I don't know how how much punch they'll have at those lower registers, but those two pressurize my whole space. Like the single PB 4000 could not. But But again, that's like 1 versus 2. But those two sit in the same spot as the one SVS because that thing's huge. That PB4000 is pretty large.
So
Get better.
a few comments here about square waves.
You're a
and
square.
continuous, a continuous wave. You know what? Like that's the point of the vented pole piece and all these things is to keep it cool. I mean, if I were to design a driver, I would want to make sure that it can play for extended periods of time and be able to handle whatever you can throw at it.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
it
the
should be
difference
like-
between a good driver and a bad driver. And then
Well,
you've got the electronics built into it too, you know? So if the electronics let everything pass through, then yeah, you're more likely to damage that subwoofer permanently from abuse, right? But if the electronics are looking at what's coming in and saying nope, and they're filtering some things out, then that subwoofer should last a long time. Again, I keep referencing, those cheap $150 subwoofers that I tested. Those have built-in limiters because the manufacturers know that the people who are more likely to use those are going to just pound on those things.
They're just gonna
And
trash
can you
it.
imagine the number of warranty failures they're going to deal with?
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Yeah,
They're the same guys that are going down the road and they got their stereo cranked up and you can hear it's garbage, but they think it sounds good. Man. It's
Exactly.
just trash. So yeah,
Playing
that's
in
the
max
ones that are going to play
distortion.
those. Yeah.
It seems to like
Yeah.
a good way to sum it up is, but this doesn't just apply for obviously hi-fi gear, like any type of product. A manufacturer should be aware of its inherent capabilities and its inherent limitations. As long as that's documented, then the rest is pretty much just on you. Because again, they don't know what your room is going to be. They don't know exactly what you could be playing on it, but they do know at least a core assumed few things, such as a continuous like test tone,
Yeah.
what its max is, and then should design the limit appropriately. And
Right.
if they can't get one that works, but they let you know, then
Yeah.
Well, I mean, wasn't there that big old like hoopla about the Nissan GTR that like you had to sign something that you would promise not to drive the car hard, like
No.
because of like the transmission or something would blow out or some shit like that?
Oh, wow.
It's like really, like really,
That's crazy.
but
you gotta make.
so then why buy that fucking thing? You know?
But I mean, if they're worried about that, how do they prove that that's what you actually did?
I don't know.
Because you made a video and you're like, I saw your video, Joe.
Yeah.
You can't hide that one.
Yes, SVS is right now redoing their policy. They're watching this.
I know,
Dude,
they're-
we got to add that disclaimer right now because Joe's about to blow up half our subwoofers.
They're gonna make Joe put a deposit down. Every
Yep.
But
Yep.
I think
That's right.
the word we're looking for is foolproof. Like right now, if
Yes,
you were to
fool,
take
like FOOL, not
yeah,
full.
fool. No, no,
Right,
fool.
bro.
If you took some wires like on the back of your AVR and you plugged it into like you made the wires touch, that's like a stupid thing to do, right?
What?
Like if you
That's
max
how
it
you get
out
more
and then
power.
you did that, what's gonna happen? It'll probably go into
I thought
protection
you're
mode,
supposed to
right?
bridge a lot of those channels.
Yeah, that's how you get more power.
Yeah, I mean it has protection against a lot of that stuff. It's a silly thing to do, but I'm sure somebody will do it. Like, yeah, I heard buy wiring, buy amping, and then let's just bridge this thing. And
Bridge
I mean, imagine the
somebody
number
would
of
do it.
calls the SBS got. What was it, SBS or Monolith got when you tested that six? What were you doing to it? Well, I was playing 16 hertz. Well, for how long? About 5 hours. I was trying to get the lighting right while I recorded it, send it to my buddies. Well, Joe and Tail did it.
oh man, yeah. I mean, longest seriously is like
okay, I mean,
10, 15 seconds just for the video, and then that's it. I don't want to hear it for any longer than that
The
myself.
real question is, how many speakers
Are they
have y'all
crazy?
blown? There's a
I,
question.
I think the real question is now:
never
do we
blown one.
really need to start having disclaimers
Chana
on
puts
on
it-
the video? Like,
he
do we
jacks up
really need to
tweeters.
do that? I might
Maybe.
burn through a few tweeters, but
Maybe.
but I mean, is this an actual concern that we have to have like, oh well, I saw this Techno Dad guy plug his keyboard into it and it was
I
fine.
hope not.
So
I
I
hope
did
not.
that. Like, is this the kind of world we're living in
But-
where people are
but-
that fucking stupid? I mean,
Think of all
I
those
know
car
people are
commercials.
stupid, but
Go get a third party liability insurance or something, man.
Oh man, think of all those car commercials that said like stunt professional driver do not, and it's like people like jumping bridges and crap. It's like, well, yeah, but they have to put that there because some
Somebody
numbskull,
will do it.
somebody did it or will do it. Yeah.
Make
So
Dom-
now
I mean,
that's
we're
what you
doing
guys
the
are gonna have
crate
to do.
challenge, right? We're doing the crate challenge. On
Yeah, which has
Instagram,
been
right?
banned
Oh my
apparently.
God.
that one.
That sounds crazy.
Somebody's gonna make a DIY clipple. You know what I mean? They'll be like, all you need is a spinning thing and a microphone.
Yeah.
I'll just spin this
I'm just
thing.
gonna spin around
I'm gonna
it.
spin this needle
I tried to do
around
that.
me,
I
around
just
my
You're gonna
face.
3D print one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There you
I
go.
just figure if SVS had a problem with my testing or Monolith did,
They'd
they'd be the
email
first
you
one to
and
call me
be
like,
like,
yo, that's
Don't
not
do that.
that's not good. Don't do that.
Look at
That's
homeboy.
awesome.
Says I teach remedial math to 18-year-olds. People can be that stupid.
That's right. I expect them to be, actually.
That's right.
Oh man.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
why not? You gotta. There's a lot of different people here. So we try to simplify. You know what I mean? You guys having a good time?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No.
I'm having a
Enjoying
good,
myself.
relaxing
Thank you
time.
for
I
inviting
am.
us. I really appreciate it.
I'm surprised it was
Thank you
open.
for having us.
Yeah, man.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty quick, huh? Time flies.
That's what she said.
Hey,
Wow.
Chana, real quick on that new player you got.
Uh-huh.
Does that play BDMV files or ISO
No, it
files?
does not. It does not. It does
Oh,
not. And
BDSM.
according to the Revon and the PD people, they wanted to make the best disc player. So the file playback is just a secondary kind of situation. But MKV, M2TS will play 4K HDR with all the immersive audio via network, or you attach USB. So
Hey, Chana. I saw on this forum that there's like this code that you can type in. I
yeah.
found it on a forum. You could like unlock.
8765309.
Yeah, it's not
Actually, it's
official.
just- it's
It's not.
just
I
eight-
just saw it on some forum.
Yeah, it's so I got in trouble. Not I didn't get in trouble, but they didn't know that I was going to put that in the video about the players pretty much being a region-free player. You
Region-free.
just
Yeah.
you go into settings and you type
No,
in
it's not.
8765.
It's just like a developers only are supposed to be able to
Yeah,
access
yeah,
that,
yeah.
bro.
This is-
What are you talking about?
It's an Easter egg. It's an Easter egg, right?
That's way more than an Easter egg.
So,
You're not
oddly
the
enough,
only one that said that, though.
So they
oddly
get-
enough, so they were like, hey, the BDA, Revon's going to get in trouble with the BDA if you could take that part out of your video. So I took it out, and they have to expressly say it's a feature that people found out about on a forum, and then they'll know be in the free and clear. So I took that part out of the video, and people are commenting still. They're like, hey, what happened to the part where he's like, I saw it the first
It's
like
gone.
week, and I'm like, oh, sorry, email me, and then
How about the part where your video is now in like 720?
oh, that's what happened because I had
Yeah,
to cut it out using the YouTube editor.
Yeah, that's what
Oh.
happened.
Because I didn't delete the video and re-upload
Okay.
it when it cut it out.
You know,
Because
I've
somebody
never
was
even
like,
tried that.
"Was this?"
I never
was
even tried
this-
that.
Oh yeah. So it's
I've done it a few times.
So if you do that, it actually does it reduce the quality?
well, it has to reprocess
Oh,
everything,
okay.
so it'll get there eventually. So
Okay.
whatever
Right.
you happen
like,
to
man,
catch
that's
it, that's
Let me
in that
see.
process.
They'll
is
have
where
to
you catch it.
re-encode it, so they'll do it based on
Yeah.
the
Let
internal.
me see.
That makes sense.
Right.
And sometimes it's kind of fast, and then sometimes it can take days.
Yeah.
It just
Right.
depends. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I've
I
noticed
used
that one.
I used to do that all the time with when I did the DJ streams on YouTube, and there would be one song that would get the whole stream blocked. You can just go in there and trim that song out.
Nice. Okay.
yeah.
I've never
But
tried
it-
that.
but-
'Cause
but
I've
like
always
Aaron said, it
edited
could take,
and
like,
uploaded
days.
a new video, but that kind of stinks because then it's like people start watching it, they're like, "Oh, I already
Alright.
saw this video," and they stop.
Yeah,
It tells
yeah.
YouTube
So
this
like
video
all that,
sucks.
all that's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
What-
So
How long ago did you do it, Chana?
What's that?
Did that
You did
edit? How long did you do the edit?
Oh, is it still at
Days-
720?
It's still max is 720 right now.
Oh, then it's fucked. Hold on, let me. What is his name?
Sealed or vented sub? That's a good question, Chris. Thank you for the super chat. Sealed or vented sub sound different when driving to limits? Yeah, because
think
you're
in-
not gonna have port chuffing. That's for sure.
yeah,
on the sealed.
innately, the sealed and vented are going to sound different, whether it's the limits or even just normal volume. So to me, like, I don't know. I don't know if I've had a vented sub, but well, I guess all of them are.
See,
if they're
yeah,
ported, it's still a
ported.
vented sub. But when I think of vented, I'm thinking like the slot.
Oh.
vent.
Yeah, like slot
No.
port.
Yeah, like a full-on
Yeah.
rectangular.
Yeah.
So
So,
what
but
are the
it's still
sound
a-
differences of the two at their limit? So sealed, what do you expect to hear? Kind of like probably
Well,
just
so I
like
can tell
hitting
you-
the mechanical limit, no?
The limit.
Yeah, so the good thing about vented subs is the distortion is really low right at the tuning frequency, but below the tuning frequency, it skyrockets. Yeah, like the distortion goes crazy high right up below the tuning frequency. But with a sealed sub, you don't really have that. Well, with a sealed anything, you don't really have that issue. So it's a more gradual overall. Whereas, like, if you're looking at a plot and you see the THD will go bloop, right at the tuning frequency, maybe at 50 hertz or 30 hertz, and it goes and shoots to like 100% after that. It's crazy.
I don't understand
So
the
that would be
science of
one
it
thing.
as
So please
much
correct
there.
me if I'm wrong. Is when you have a ported enclosure, it's kind of acting like an air spring. So there is some
Right.
resistance up to a certain point, and then below that tuning frequency, does it become like a
Flop
free
around.
air, like as if it wasn't in a box at all, and just kind of like flopping
around.
around with no
If
resistance?
it's a bad enclosure, it can. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just kind of depends on the design. If they do it right, then you don't really have those issues. But like I said, you start running into to high levels of distortion below the tuning frequency of the port.
And a sealed typically has kind of like almost like a built-in limiter, because it's just a smooth roll off.
Right.
Right. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's just not gonna play that sound that you want it to play if it's too low. Right.
Yeah, but the funny thing about sealed is like if you go low enough in frequency, then the sealed has more output than the ported, because the ported rolls off a lot more quickly.
Mm.
The sealed is not as steep. So at some point, and it's probably usually well below the point that it matters, but at some point the sealed will actually have a little bit more output than the ported.
You want to hear something interesting? So, Chris, I've always been against sealed subs in car audio. Like back in my car audio days, JL Audio, I had them in ported. My friend had the same exact W6s in a sealed, and it was just like, oh, you don't have the same low bass that I have. Like, we called them the wounded seals. Like, they're the seal. Like, they weren't hitting low bass, man.
Wounded seals.
They were the wounded seals, man.
Oh man, that's messed up.
But
Typically.
nowadays, I'm finding that I'm more impressed with the sealed subs, because when you combine that with DSP, I feel like that's a great combo, because then you have a small sub, you have it's controlled, you don't have that to worry about the port noise, and the DSP just kind of does its thing. You know, so I think that's actually it's a different game now, and I think I like
So
sealed.
I've reviewed a lot of sealed versus ported, but typically when I do that, it's like SVS will send me the very first time was the dual PB 16s, and I had at the same time dual SB 16s. So I had that all in my theater room, and to me, like for movies, holy cow, there's a violence that comes from like a PB 16 versus an SB 16. I mean, there's just a lot more output, but you definitely feel it a whole lot more. And so, and I did the same thing with the SVS SB 3000 and the PB 3000. Same thing. Music, I really liked the SB 3000, but I wasn't real impressed with it for movies. The PB 3000 was pretty awesome sub, especially for a really small enclosure. It wasn't until I went up to 418s that I'm like, okay, at this point, I don't need any more SPL. I don't need any more output. So
Yeah.
the sealed version in big, large drivers, honestly, man, I'm a big fan. I mean, I really like that. Especially for
and
my
you also
room.
have like 8 more inches of surface area. Or sorry, diameter. Surface area is calculated differently, but
Yeah.
you got it. So it's moving
Yeah.
more air too, right?
Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've got so much pressure in the room. I don't need ported at that point. But if I'm running like dual 12s, I would 100% prefer in my room having dual ported 12s than I would dual sealed 12s.
So you actually ran out of SPL on the HTP1 when you tested your JTRs, right?
Oh, yes. So the HTP one, yeah, I got up to like max volume. I was trying to do compression testing and we just never hit it. And the HTP one was just kind of. Now, what I didn't know is I could go into REW, and you know the number at the beginning where it's like, let's say negative 12 dB something. It's like 4 letters. dB, I don't know. You guys can help me with that. I'm not super familiar. But you can adjust that, and that would have given me more output. So that may have been, you know, I could have played with that, but I don't like messing with stuff that I don't know, because I'm not like Joe. I don't like just trying to get things to smoke.
Oh, that's what I'm doing now, huh?
I'm just kidding, man. Just kidding.
And so here's the thing, though. I know about your room. You've done enough measurements, and you've shown like you have that huge,
My room sucks, man. I
that
hate
huge suck out, right?
hate it.
At what, like 40 or 50 hertz? Like,
It's typically between, no matter where I put a subwoofer, if I do just a single subwoofer, no matter where I can put it on the front left, the center.
Yeah.
I've tried the front, front right. I've done it in the back left. and that's about the only floor space I really have in my room. I'm just
Yeah.
it's not a lot of available floor space because my front cabinet's about 4 foot thick, and I got a riser. I got 2 rows of seating, so that eats up that room.
It's like
pretty
minus 30 dB though, right? Like it's a huge.
huge.
So then-
Minus 30
so
dB
then-
at like 40 or 50, right?
Yeah,
So here's the
it's
thing
huge.
that I want people to know is like your sub is actually making that sound. It's just that you don't hear it in the
Right.
listening position, right? So it's playing
So-
those notes. It's putting it out there.
Yeah.
Now maybe you're not hearing in your listening position. Now I'm sure like, what if your neighbor's like,
Other-
what
yeah.
the hell is
Yeah.
going on?
Right?
Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
time, this
they're hitting
weird
it in their
noise
ear.
always happens over here. I don't
Those
get it.
sound waves are very long. So I mean, going back to what you were saying about the sealed versus ported, maybe your room has a lot to do with that.
Well,
Right? And it
you have
could.
less headroom,
could.
right? You have less headroom with a sealed, and when you're talking about minus 30 dB at like 40 or 50 hertz, like the
Hertz.
critical area.
So
You
here's
need
what
that,
here's what I
so-
had to overcome that. I had to have 2 subs,
Mhm.
and then using the mini DSP, I was able to get that flat down to 5 hertz. So I can't do that with, just putting a single sub on the floor in my room. It just will not happen. I'm gonna have that crappy. I mean, you can go back to my oldest videos when I first started doing REW measurements, and every one of them, the Power Sound Audio 36, 11, 36, 12, something like that. Dual 18s, still had the little V in that same area. It's so crazy, man. So one thing I'm curious about is I've got some really thick 6-inch bass traps from GIK, but what I'm learning is that's not going to affect. Now, I guess it would affect that 50 hertz range, maybe. No, it's not even going to do that because I think you got to have like 6 foot to be able.
I
to
think
hit
I know
that
what
range.
it's
It's
causing
crazy.
yours, by the way.
I don't know.
I think I
man.
have an
It's a
idea what
standing
it is.
wave.
It's
Yeah, but-
yeah,
Well,
it's
tell it
something
to
that's
sit down
canceled.
and stop it. I don't-
Well, here's the
I
thing
hate
is
it.
the reason I laugh is because I test
I
out
think
some of
it's
the
my
same
room
subs that
dimension.
you test out,
I think
and I'm
it's my
like,
room
what's
dimension.
wrong with this guy? Like, this thing is crazy. Why does he have such huge speakers? This thing's already nuts. Like, 2 of these, and I'd be like, that's nuts.
Lord.
That's crazy.
Lord.
Yeah, your room has a huge, and
my goodness.
we've preached
It's
that
the length of your
forever.
room. Yeah.
Yeah, we preach that forever that your room really does matter.
I
You
think
know?
it's the
And
subs being
placement.
inside of the enclosure.
cabinet.
No,
I think
but
that's
now-
what it is.
But see, you totally missed the point. I told you I put them out in the middle of the room. I've tried them in the
Oh.
back of the room. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter where it's at in my room. I get that. Because think about this: the monolith was in the back left
Oh
corner.
yeah,
of
it
my
was.
room.
You could have
It
put
wasn't
back
in the
there, yeah.
front.
Have you tried
Think
to
about that.
run a third sub?
You got
with
like
your
a bass
JPRs?
monster.
Wait a
Just needs-
second. Wait a second. I've got it, Mike. You need a little baby subwoofer underneath
an eight-
every
I-
seat.
No, I
3000,
need a.
micro
I probably need a.
3000.
Yeah, Micro.
Probably need a
3000.
sealed 18 in the rear, and that could fill in that gap. I don't know.
Right.
You
Actually,
know?
could you
I
convert
think
that
if you-
riser
I
into
think
a
if you
sub?
hooked up the monolith also.
Make the riser a sub. There it is. Make the riser a sub.
Is
Well, that
there a
would be what we call the
calculation,
hover
Aaron,
boss.
for that? Like, 40, 50 hertz is where he's getting the bass suck out. Is there like some kind of like, this
Yeah,
is
like
the
what
length
con-
or
I
something like
think
that?
Yeah.
yeah.
You have to calculate the distance from the speaker to, well, so if it's 40 hertz, what is that? 13,
It just, yeah.
But it's very
just so
So it'd
weird.
be
What
about
a weird frequency.
168, about 14 feet round trip, so about 7 feet one way. But see, the
Uh-huh.
thing is, it could be a sod wall, it could be the ceiling,
Mhm.
could
And
be,
you have that sliding
potential-
door, right?
yeah, I mean,
that
it could be
big
anything.
sliding
Door.
glass
But I've
door.
got a glass
Huh.
door, but I've also got a thick curtain there, so I think that helps. But again, bass is going to travel through that. That's for
Mhm.
sure.
Is it a
That little
ceiling
curtain.
thing? Because if he's saying that
think
it
it might
happens no matter where he puts it, maybe it's just the wall
Yeah,
height.
that would
I've
make
got-
sense.
I've got 10-foot ceilings.
10.
Yeah.
10.
Okay, that's
Pretty tall.
pretty
Well,
high.
is it a
right?
peak or a dip?
It's a
Huge.
dip. It's a tunnel. It's like a
Big
Grand
it's a
Canyon.
big old cut. Yeah.
If I remember from those
Yeah.
old videos, it's like it looks mostly flat, and then all of a sudden there's just this.
Yeah,
big
it just
Whoa,
it's
thing.
drops
God.
off, man. Yeah, it's nuts.
That's what we need to get
I would lo-
Snoots
I'll
in
be
here.
honest,
We need
I
to
would
get
lo-
Homeboy in here.
I would love to figure it out. I would really do. But it may be a limitation of the length and the width and the height of my room.
So if it's a null, then it's 9.375 feet. Yeah.
That's
So
probably
what does that
about
mean?
right.
So
Is
it's
that
about
like-
6 feet. So that's where the first null would appear, is at about 9 feet away at 40 hertz.
That's
Okay,
okay,
so
this guy.
I'm 9
love that
feet.
guy.
I'm 9 feet from my screen. My
Yeah.
eyes are, and then there's about 4 feet behind that to the front wall.
Yeah.
Is where my subs are. But I mean, technically, the subs are going to be about a foot behind that screen. So they're basically the subs are probably 10 foot from me.
Yeah, there's a good calculator online somewhere. I remember. We'll have to look it up maybe offline. But
but
you want to
again-
look up like comb filtering, and
Okay, so
there's
what
a
do you do then?
calculation for it.
Let's say his ceiling's that height. You're getting some kind of null. What is there that you can
How do you
possibly
fix that?
do?
Yeah,
Nothing.
what do you do?
You don't do a dang thing. You get a different subwoofer and put it somewhere else to try to cancel. I'm dead serious, man. There's nothing else you can do.
Exactly,
add,
right?
like add
Won't
another
you
one.
say-
I need
four
a
You would have to,
subwoofers.
you would have to
Third
put another subwoofer somewhere else to counteract that mode. Wherever that, and ideally wherever the reflection is that's causing that null, you would put the other subwoofer in that location. That's the ideal situation, but you're probably not going to be able to do that. So
Yeah.
that's why staggered subwoofers in home audio are so good, and that's why staggered mid bass and car audio are so good. You know, you like a RAID, you want to put them in different places to kind of fill in the dips naturally.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind it.
Got
'Cause both of yours are in the
natural
front.
dips.
No,
Well,
natural dip.
He's just like sending so much power that it's just like
It's just trying to overpower.
he's just forcing it.
Yeah,
he's just forcing
Yeah.
it in there.
There's nothing
It's
you can
just
do
like
about the
pure-
room modes. Not a thing.
in
have to
ceiling.
deal with
You have to
stuff
make
is
you an
homeboy.
in wall and install it right next to your seats.
Michael, the way he's playing it right now is like because there's a null that's happening, he's just making the walls move. It's just like,
There
you know
you
what?
go.
I'll just use the
No
walls
null.
as subs.
No
That's
null.
it. If you're gonna mess around like that, I'll just make the walls and
Just
the ceiling
move.
all become subs.
Dude, just move to the next seat over. You'll be fine.
That's hilarious.
Or what if it's the mother-in-law seat? What if that one is where everything works perfectly?
She's like, her brain is all jacked up.
L-
Oh my
Last
God.
question: is there a place in your house where that 40 or 50 hertz is sounding crazy? Like your wife's like,
Yep.
"Oh my god, it sounds nuts over here."
I mean,
Hey,
so,
that-
here, I'll show you this.
Because I'm wondering if in like in REW you're like bumping that up to try to make it, you know, by evening it
Oh,
out.
yeah.
It's actually super bumped up.
Yeah,
I'm sure
because you
somewhere
can't
in the
do
room
anything
like,
about an acoustic null.
Oh my
When,
god.
when you have like an acoustic null like that, you can dump as much power as you wanted to. You're not going to change
That's
anything.
what he's doing though. See,
Only by adding more
he
speakers.
uses DSP and just like fills it in and just those
That looks
subs
fine.
are just
Yeah. So what happened is, in a
And show the-
nutshell, what we've had to do is cut enough, like where the suck out is or where the null is.
Oh
We had
yeah.
to reduce that. So the good thing is my subwoofers have so much headroom
Uh huh.
that I can reduce that, and I still get ridiculous output. And that's the way I'm able to, like, that's why I made the video that the mini DSP in my room, complete game changer. Because before
show the
that,
before. Show the before one
oh,
if you have
God.
it.
So I don't
Just
think I
so
have it.
Aaron knows what's going on. It's crazy. So yeah, even
You
though
can do
you're
the
flat,
subwoofer
you're cutting
crawl.
out the rest. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Do,
You'll see.
what were
do
you
the
saying?
subwoofer crawl. Just do the subwoofer crawl. Put your
Where are you
subwoofer
gonna
in your
crawl?
seated position and crawl
Oh,
around
yeah,
the room.
200,
Just sit up and walk
You
around
can't
it.
crawl that.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
this.
You need to put that
Just
thing
do
on
that.
casters, bro.
You got it. You know, actually, you could just take a really no joke. You could take like a single 10-inch sealed subwoofer and put it in that seat.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
you
yeah.
need something is just ignite that mode.
I got
50.
you.
If you really want to go through the trouble of like trying to find where the problem is and where to place another subwoofer strategically, or as an alternative, you could take that single 10-inch subwoofer once you find where the null is coming from, and then put that single 10-inch subwoofer, bandpass it at 40 hertz on your mini DSP, and just have it fill in that null.
So I just
And you'll never hear the difference if you got it phase corrected enough.
Watch, you'll see. You have
Don't
the
you
other
have
one.
those?
I'm
You
trying
still
to
have
find,
those
like, what
3,000 minis? You can try it with that.
Yeah.
I don't have those. Those went back a long time ago.
I tell you, man, in car audio, nothing scares me in home audio anymore. Car audio is a beast.
Oh, you know what it is, Joe? So it's
Yeah.
in the video because
Oh.
here's what I do. Instead of showing screenshots of REW, I literally put my camera up and I show it on the screen. And so I just zoom into my screen and show it like live. That way
Which-
I can talk.
which
So it's
video
actually
was
in
it?
It's the last video on the monolith. I mean, that's one of them. If that's what you're
Monolith.
talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that'll show the dip, you know,
Okay.
by all
So let
means.
me mute
When I
this
dip, you dip, we dip.
Yeah.
All right. Here we
Hey.
go.
Pretty nice.
Share.
Like I said, man, I would love to figure that out I mean, in Patogo, Michael, man, you need to fly over to my house, man. He says 40 hertz is pretty easy. So I'm hoping he's thinking about like fixing that. Or maybe he's thinking
Michael's got
another sub in the
got a
back
trick.
corner.
He's got a 40 hertz trick.
And again, I don't know. So it'd be hard for me to mix that ported sub, like the monolith, with 2 sealed subs up front. I mean, I know you can do it, but I don't think it's ideal. Yeah, so that's like pretty much with nothing. That's just straight up measurement of one subwoofer in the back left corner.
Oh, 50 hertz. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And this one too.
Everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, see,
that sucks.
all right. Well, here's the thing. So that one over there on the right, that 80, that's not to me that bad because it's so narrow.
It's so narrow.
Yeah.
But here's the question. So is that from the subs that are up front, right? I mean, all your subs are up front.
No.
This is a single subwoofer in the back left corner.
Okay.
So
All right.
If you back up, you'll see where I put the monolith sub.
That's fine. My question is, if you were to take like a signal generator and just generate the tones, because you're probably not really going to hear it music, can you hear it pull to that sub? Because I would be surprised if you couldn't hear it pull to that sub.
What do you mean hear it pull to that sub?
Like hear the sound go from like, I hear everything in front of me and everything sounds like it's anchored up front, but now I hear that sub pull right to the back as I get closer to that 90 hertz. Does that make sense what I'm saying? When you reach that null frequency, usually what you hear is that out of phase element, and you'll hear that speaker. Almost like if you take 2 speakers and you flip the polarity, the sound goes straight to the speakers.
Gotcha.
It's kind of the same thing.
Right. Yeah, so see the same thing. It's crazy. 30 to, what's that? That one's even worse. That was like 30 to 70 hertz.
Man.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
I get some funky stuff, man.
If I were you, I'd just burn it down, start all over.
Well, trust me, I wish I could, but this is here's
There's
the
something
reality.
buried in your foundation. You gotta go dig it up.
Here's the reality. If you think about it, this is why I'm such a big advocate of measurements. Because think about it, for the longest time, I had subwoofers. I'm like, man, it sounds awesome in here. And I loved it.
Yeah.
But I'm missing part of the puzzle.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
Part of that frequency response is gone. And I think, oh man, this thing's cranking. I'm jamming. But it's because I'm hearing certain frequencies that are great, but then I'm missing out on those other frequencies.
That's a perfect case of ignorance is bliss. And I'm not even kidding. Yeah. I mean, it really is.
100%.
Because now that you know, you're like, oh my God, I got to fix this because it shouldn't sound like that.
So when I first got this, and a friend of mine, I had to have help. I went through a couple of videos and I did an okay job. And then I talked to a friend of mine in Wisconsin, and he said, man, I can dial into your computer. We'll get this thing set up right. I went, let's do it. So we spent 4 hours just trying a bunch of different things. We tried positioning of the subs, turn them sideways, all kinds of things. And he really, really got it dialed in. And that was that frequency response that we saw. That's about as best as I can get in my room, which is pretty good. I can deal with that funkiness, man. So just throwing a subwoofer in there, running auto calibration, going, man, this is good, is not good. And that's what a lot of people, I think, don't realize. They're hearing bass.
Here, look, subscribe.
Unless you literally see what's going on, Yeah. Look at there, man.
Got a new subscriber from Daily HiFi.
Nice. Man. Nice.
Yeah.
That's legit.
All right. Well, that $5 is in the mail.
Interesting stuff. I just wanted to relax today and just hang out with you guys.
Dude, I really enjoyed having you guys on the
thanks
show.
for having me on.
It's always good seeing you guys.
So, and for those of you that are wondering, like, these are some of our patrons, man. These guys hang out with us every week after kind of the after hour show. What do we call it? The after show? Yeah.
After party.
Yeah. It's the party. It's where
After
it's
the
happening.
party.
So if you want to become a patron, man, we've got the link right there. We'd love to have you become a patron. And just come hang out with us, man. We do this literally every single week after the Daily HiFi show. And we just hang out. We talk about your setups. We talk about life. We talk about some crazy stuff that Chana usually brings up. But, I'm just saying.
Why does it always got to be me? Why got to
it
be all
always
that?
is you. Because
It always is you.
all that.
Does Youth Man bring that stuff up? No.
You have an exciting life. We don't. We live vicariously through Chana.
Oh,
He's always just showing us like injuries.
Yeah.
Michael just,
Yeah.
hey, check out this crazy.
Yeah, he's like,
Interesting.
yeah,
Look at the
check out what I
maturity
did
of this
on the-
thing.
Half her
Oh my
ear.
God.
And,
Yeah, this guy on the Parkway today flipped me off, so I'll check out what I did to him.
Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head over to the after show. So all those that are patrons, we will see you there in just a few minutes. And all of those that aren't patrons, you should go over to patreon.com/daily
100%.
HiFi and make sure you sign up as a patron and get access to the after
me.
show. And look,
to me.
these guys are here, our patrons.
Thank you again so
We're
much.
here on the show.
Really appreciate
They are.
the invite.
Yeah, thanks, Don,
Hang out with
Ike,
us.
and Dan for hanging out.
Ton.
And,
Ton.
is it
Not
is it
Dan.
Ton? Oh, Dan. Oh,
You screwed it up, dude.
Fuck that one up.
You had it right the first time.
I'm 1-1.
Ton. I
got it right
man.
once, got it wrong once.
No problem, Shauna.
All good. So yeah,
I do Shauna.
God is shining, man.
I've been teased all my life about my name. It's all good. I'm with you there, buddy. But yeah, so we do this every 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday. So make sure you mark your calendars. Of course, subscribe up to the Daily HiFi YouTube channel so you guys get notified when we go live and all that good stuff. And until next week, we will see you next time.
It's
Peace.
the best outro in
Have
the
a good one.
world.